What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're here for episode number 5 of the My Team journey. This time around we are heading off to Miami for the inaugural Miami Grand Prix, a track that I've done a few laps around and I do have some experience on Miami. But before we go into this video, if you want to see the most recent episode, which was in Imola, feel free to go check that out, as it was probably the craziest weekend I've ever had, as you'll probably guess from the title in the top right hand corner. Anyway, moving on to this weekend. Now, so I think we do have some upgrades coming on the car. I think one of them might be tyre wear, and I think an ICE upgrade. So we've got 3.1 mil to spend. We're probably going to spend some of that on facilities. We can't really do too on fabrication. So what I've decided to do is quality control for aero and powertrain. So that'll actually come on for just before the weekend. Those departments will get upgraded for the weekend. So, and also we are going to put new components in, but before we do, you guys can pause and just slowly see each component wear. But the ICE is at 26%, the MGU-K and MGU-H 35 and 59 respectively, the energy source at 36, the turbocharger is, well, that's an ICE upgrade which failed. I don't know, it was ICE, would have been handy to have, because that was an upgrade that I originally did before the ICE wear rate came down, the recent patch that came down. There's the quality control spec 1 for aero and powertrain. As I said, for engine wear, turbochargers at 55. The gearbox is, the controller electronics is at 910. The gearbox, the old gearbox was at 61, but we did take a new gearbox in the recent episode in Imola, and that gearbox is currently at 7%. So I think this weekend we are going to take a new turbocharger and maybe a new MGU-H. I think that is the plan for this weekend. Anyway, into a Pirelli Hot Lap. This is the autocross around Miami. Just have to go through the gates in the bollards, as we are just winding our way through a lot of the bollards. We missed out on getting going by about 3 seconds. We were in the McLaren Artura, and in the end it took us 1 minute and 21 seconds, 0.8, and that was actually enough to get us to get a silver, 500 to claim, and 50,000 in cash. So in the development race, we have caught up slowly to McLaren. McLaren haven't brought any upgrades on. AlphaTauri have leapfrogged McLaren, and if you look to the top, Ferrari have literally streaked away. Red Bull and Mercedes haven't been bringing many big upgrades onto the car. Anyway, into Friday practice. If you looked at the gap from the final turn up to the start finish line, we lost 2/10 alone coming out of the last corner, and I didn't think the run was actually that bad out of the last corner. Honestly, I don't know if that's something that needs to be adjusted, or because Miami is, of course, a new circuit. Maybe the AI have crazy amounts of traction control, and they can literally get a fast exit out of there. It's honestly insane. So the Friday practice is now done. Getting all the discounts. I don't think there's anything we can really need to worry about. So let's go into qualifying. Alrighty then, here we go for qualifying for the Miami Grand Prix. Doing all the usual things, waiting until everybody does their laps. Here's the setup that we're running with. 15-12 wings was the original setup, but we did tweak front and rear wings up by 1 click, so we're running 16-13 wings just for a bit more downforce. I think maybe with a little bit extra downforce that could help us in some areas of the track, mainly the tight Mickey Mouse section, which is right here coming up, and it all starts right here, turn 11. I think this is. I don't know the numbers of the corners, but this is the tight, tricky section that I mean, a lot of first curve, not much second curve, and just getting around. Yeah, it's a tight track to get right. It can easily go very wrong if you don't get the traction right, or the correct amount of turning right. Anyway, first lap is 29.5. I tried to do a cool down lap and then another push lap, but it didn't quite work out, and we were very low on fuel. So we get back into the pit lane, return to the garage with about 4 and a bit minutes to go, but already we've got 2.5 minutes to lower the fuel load, maybe make some last minute tweaks, and get out and begin our final flying lap. So a minute 40 now. So we're probably going to have a small window to get into the pit lane, to get onto the pit straight and start our final lap, as well as getting the tyres up to temperature, and as well as trying to stay out of the way of everyone else, and keeping the tyre wear optimal. So we managed to do that. We crossed the line with 8 seconds to go. We did have just enough time to start our final flying lap into turns number 1 and 2 and 3. Not the easiest to get right. In fact, there's a lot of areas around here that it can be tricky to get right. Through the tight Mickey Mouse section, almost went as fast as I did. Made the apex a little bit better onto the long straight. However, we are a 10th down, so this slow for whatever.
Okay, there's 2 minutes left in this session, and we're in the drop zone. We need a quick lap, or that's qualifying over for us.
Well, even if we do find some more time, however, I don't think it's going to be enough to get us into Q2. Probably our only target is to beat Oscar Piastri, our teammate. As we come up to the line, we did find a bit of time out of the last corner, close to a 10th. Where does this put us? I don't think it's Q2. It's not. It is second last on the grid. So we've been out qualified by our teammate. Fair play. What was the gap? Oh wow. So really not a lot in it. Yeah, I'm surprised that I didn't really find the time I thought I could have on that second run, because even though Track Evolution does come up a little bit between qualifying or the start of qualifying and the end of qualifying, I thought I would have found a bit more time than that. So yeah, I'm actually quite surprised about that. But anyway, we've got a whole race in front of us, and we did do this lap, or did do quali with the Al Capone. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to to the team facilities, and we're going to go back and we're going to put component 2 for the MGU-H and the turbocharger. That's what we're going to do. We are going to take some grip penalties at some point in the next few races or so. I'm mainly looking towards Azerbaijan. That's where I want to be taking grip penalties if that's possible. Anyway, that's in the next few episodes or so. Let's go to the race for the inaugural Miami Grand Prix.
Welcome to the Miami International Autodrome, home of the Miami Grand Prix. This exciting track circumnavigates the Hard Rock Stadium, home to the National Football League outfit, the Miami Dolphins. With great opportunities for wheel-to-wheel battles featuring 19 corners, 3.36 miles long, and expected average speeds of 138 miles an hour, the Miami International Autodrome will be sure to create lots of chances to overtake. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Verstappen, Sergio Perez, and Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Ocon, Magnussen, and Mick Schumacher, Norris, Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, and Ricciardo, Russell, Zhou, Alex Albon, and Lance Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Skip, Latifi, and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Thank you, Mark, and we will try and do what we can with the car that we have. Welcome, guys, to the grid for the Miami Grand Prix. We're not starting on the softs, we're going to start on the mediums. I want to be somewhat competitive with the lower teams. Guanyu Zhou, the Alphas, the Aston Martins, and the Williams. Mainly the aim for this race is just try and be best of the rest, in all honesty. So targets to beat the Alphas, the Williams, and the Aston Martins as we get ready. 5 red lights ahead of us, and we are racing. That was a really long hold. Good start against Oscar Piastri. Stroll looking for each direction. Then he comes back up towards us. We go up the middle of Albon and Guanyu Zhou, and almost George Russell. There's a little bit of contact. We avoid contact with Guanyu Zhou, and the pack is slowing down. Does someone have front wing damage up ahead? I don't know, but we've still got George Russell on our outside. He'll have the inside for turn 5, but we'll have the inside for turn 6 if we choose to hold it there. We've gone over the curve. That's not going to do our floor much help as we go into 7 and 8. This is turn 8 right here. So all in all, good start, up 3 spots so far, but gonna try and not use too much battery if possible. However, I did just use a little bit to hopefully stay ahead of the Williams, but this straight feels like forever to get down, and we successfully stay ahead. Or do we? Albon has a late look at us, and thankfully we just about hold positions for now. Going into the slowest part of the track, this is where the first few laps could be a bit slow, as everyone is probably just going to react to whatever's in front of them. Look at the treasure that everyone gets, and look at Albon just coming out of nowhere. So really big run as us. He gets P16, and Guanyu Zhou comes out of nowhere as well, and he gets Albon as well in the process. That's a double move from Guanyu Zhou, and he gets P16. So we've been demoted from 16th to 18th at the last turn. So at the end of the first lap, we only gained 1 spot. Well, if you think about it, if we didn't lose those 2, we would have gained 3 spots. But anyway, there's still another 28 laps ahead of us. Let's see how far we can get up the order. However, I'm not so sure how far we can really get through the tight Mickey Mouse section. This right here, it could be a surprise overtaking maneuver if you literally get the line right or whatever. Onto the long main straight, heading towards the final braking zone, and look at Stroll coming out of nowhere. He gets the move done, but then we all of a sudden goes back up the inside. We almost made contact with Alex Albon, but we do make contact with Stroll. I think he might have front wing damage, and now we pretty much have done an MLR as we hold Stroll up high. I think he comes into the pit lane to change the front wing, and we let Oscar through, and now we've been hit by Sebastian Vettel. So us and the Aston Martins are not really good friends. This is on board with Lance Stroll. Yeah, that's pretty heavy contact, front wing damage on that car, and that allowed Oscar to go through for a nice free position. This is I wasn't too sure why I even got back up the inside or what even happened, but it happened anyway. That's Stroll getting past Nicholas Latifi, as well as rear-ending us and maybe getting a sharp bite out of that front wing as well. And he is a good 3/4 of a second behind, so he might have front wing damage, but apparently the front wings aren't as bad as you might think. If you do get a small shark bite, it's actually not as bad as you might think. So Stroll and Vettel came in. They've gone onto soft compound tyres. That is actually quite surprising, in honesty. Guanyu Zhou leading this group of trains through the tight Mickey Mouse section, and we are just holding stations for now behind this group of cars right now. So we're basically just going to run our own race behind these guys, just stay within their DRS. Albon got back past. How did I even miss that again? I'm missing a lot of things so far right here. And we almost thought about a move on Oscar. There's contact between the two of us, and that's what I mean. Because this session is so slow, and we've been able to carry more pace than anyone. We aggressively defend from Nicholas Latifi, and he is up our inside. We give him a big squeeze and pray that he locks up, and we can do a nice switch back, but we don't quite execute that move, and he gets P19. And that's what I mean by the tight Mickey Mouse section. We've been able to carry so much more speed through there, all weekend. And look, we get a good run, and we go up the inside, but he doesn't even notice. Well, Latifi doesn't notice that we've gone for a move, and he just firmly shuts the door and turns in on us. But yeah, we've carried so much more speed through that section all weekend long, and if we could just get a run, then we can have a look up the inside. But it's not really an overtaking zone on the track. The only real overtaking zone is turn 1, maybe here turn 7 and 8, or into turn 11, I think it is, or the final braking zone, which is the penultimate turn 17. Oh, that's a nice moment for us. A little sideways coming off the first part of the chicane, and now we've lost. That's a good second. We've lost to Latifi, and looks like Oscar's been starting to fall back from Albon and Guan Yu Zhou for the time being. As we enter lap 7, there's a yellow flag, and it's actually for Latifi, who's got an engine failure, and he is out of the race. So that's the easiest position we'll ever get in this race, maybe, or the easiest on-track overtake we will ever make. So the next few laps have been a bit quiet for us. Both Aston Martins are pitting again, and they're going to go onto hard compound tyres. They'll take those to the end of the race, I'm sure, unless they get another late race safety car, and they can chuck another set of soft tyres if they even have any free sets left. Yellow flag ahead of us. Anything? No, doesn't look like it. End of lap 13. People are making their one and only stops, including some of the top runners. Max Verstappen in P10. He might have already made his stop. He's on the hard compound tyres. He'll take those to the end of the race, and I just don't see how anyone is going to stop the Ferraris, because they are a long way ahead on the performance index. Great run on Joe, but again, we can't. We could have a lunge if we wanted to. However, we would have needed to be a little bit more closer, a little bit more up his gearbox, and yeah, it didn't really work out. This is our in lap now, so we get a good dose of DRS on Jay. We almost rear-handed it, and now Ocon is out of the race. Is this a safety car? Ideally, the two of us would really like one at this stage, as we now come into the pit lane, and now we're testing the immersive pit lane broadcast. I can't remember if I even changed these settings. I don't recall even changing these settings into the pit lane. We go. Left front's having trouble coming off. Oh no, it's left right. Having a little bit of trouble coming off, and we've lost time to Zhou Guan Yu there, and we've lost a couple of seconds to the Alpha ahead, and now we are a little bit further back than what we really wanted. So now we've got the second half of the race to try and catch up to our teammates. Oscar could have a good shout of getting past Guan Yu if he can't get his tyres up to temperature quickly, but I think he's been able to do that successfully. And now Oscar, the main target for him is to just stay close to him now. But a couple of cars that are pretty much free to race now. The two Ferraris, they are a long way clear of anyone ahead of or they're mainly ahead of the Red Bulls. So no wonder they've been given free range to race, as long as they don't take each other out. I don't reckon there'll be any team orders here at Ferrari, and I think that's Sainz in front. No, it's Leclerc that's leading the way at the moment, and we have the two Red Bulls and I think someone else. Yeah, there's the two Red Bulls and a Mercedes. That train is led by Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, and I think that's Hamilton in P2. Or no, P5, sorry. So yeah, a fight for the win and a fight for third spot unfolding here before our eyes. So we're going to zoom in, and I just want to zoom in on the minimap. So look at the Ferraris going into the last braking zone, and look at the Red Bulls and the Merc coming out of the Mickey Mouse section. That's effectively the back straight. That's how big of a lead Ferrari have got, and that's almost how big of a lead they've got on the in the performance index. So for whatever reason, Red Bull and Mercedes aren't upgrading as frequently, maybe as the Ferraris. But yeah, there could be multiple things that can go on behind the scenes that we may not even know about. So go through, just getting to the end of the race. We've been closing up on this group of cars being led by Albon, Joe, and then my teammate. We've been able to close the gap up to them pretty well in the Mickey Mouse section and a few other zones, but the traction that they get out of, or the speed that they get out of at the edge of the corners is pretty ridiculous, and we can't even match that. So really, the gap is basically stabilised. There's literally not much more we could do at this point onwards. It's almost annoying if you really think about it.
Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes.
And now the potential of rain our way. It's 10 minutes out, but I'm not so sure if we are going to get any rain, because we've got 4 laps to go now, and there was a small chance of rain to be forecast, but I mean, the clouds are starting to come over, but I think it might be too little too late for the rain to hit. If the rain was to hit and it literally poured down, we could have had the option to go into the inters. Team Radio?
The rain's a few lap outs yet, but it is coming, so be careful.
But not quick enough, so the rain isn't going to get anywhere near close to us. It's not even going to sprinkle by the time the checkered flag falls, unfortunately. So it's going to be 17th and 18th, respectively. And the battle that we've missed out once again, Carlos Sainz has taken the lead from Leclerc. Does Leclerc think about, from that far back? No, I think they know. I think Ferrari know. They've got a comfortable gap behind. They just want to get those cars to the end of the race, and that is another brilliant win for Ferrari. Carlos Sainz goes back-to-back and wins the inaugural Miami Grand Prix, and now we go back to the minor placings and the final podium finish, and that is Sergio Perez, who has gone past Verstappen and kept Hamilton, I think it is, at bay. So Verstappen has gone from third to fifth in the last 6 laps, and Perez gets the final podium places, and yeah, that wraps up the podium and the top 5 for them. For us, it's going to be 18th place and 17th for Oscar Piastri, next to each other in the standings, or near enough to each other, but honestly, we didn't really have the car that could really stay with those guys, and honestly, the exit speed that the AI got all day was just uncompetitive.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
For us anyway. We were pushing the whole second half of the race, but we were just unable to match the pace of everyone ahead of us.
Here we are then, a phenomenal Miami Grand Prix, and what a great show of skill from our race winners today. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
A team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
And another win that pretty much caps up their dominance, and in what looks to be a very dominant season for Ferrari. They may even go I don't think that can be stopped. I think they're going to go the whole season without another team winning a race. It certainly looks that way, and it looks like it's going to be that way. The way things are going right now, because they have such a big lead in the performance index, it's going to have to take a dramatic twist for that to change. So another 1-2 for Ferrari, third and fifth for Red Bull, and yeah, there was nothing anyone could have done to stop those two, apart from them crashing each other out or both of them having a mechanical failure, which I wouldn't like to see anyway. So up 2 spots for myself and Oscar. Yeah, honestly, I mean, there was nothing we could have done anyway to be competitive, honestly. Yeah, I mean, the setup that we had, I mean, Miami is supposed to be a low downforce setup. Yeah, so Carlos now is now within 5 points of his teammate Charles Leclerc, and us dropping down to 17th in the standings. Yeah, we're dropping like flight. We're not dropping like flight, but we are dropping down in the drivers, and we're still 10th in the constructors. Honestly, I'm not sure at this point who our main rivals are at the moment. Honestly, because we've had some good results, I feel like our rivals could be McLaren, AlphaTauri, or whatever. But I think at this point, I have to say our closest rivals would have to be Alfa Romeo and Williams. I reckon Williams, just like in real life, are fighting for fringe points at the moment, or maybe even Haas could be our closest rivals. But who knows? We'll find out who our real close rivals are in the next few races or so. The next race will be in Spain. I think we do have some downforce upgrades, I think, that are due to come on the car, and I think maybe some other upgrades that can get on. But yeah, the only way towards the top is to keep going up. That's really the only way from here on in. And as long as we can continue to get upgrades on the cars and get them on swiftly, and continue to upgrade the facilities and invest in Oscar, and I reckon we've got a good shout for season 2. Honestly, our aim is to stay off the bottom, or not to be the worst team if possible, and just keep investing in the team, investing in Oscar, and yeah, there's really not much to do when you're in your first season as a newcomer, and this is what I mean. Even though we started at the back on F1 2021, this is the challenge that we all want to do. We all want to bring our own team towards the top. I mean, if we started as a front runner, we'd be winning races from the first outing, and that's really not what I want to do. I really want to really build this team up. The deeper we go into this gameplay, the deeper we go into this game's life cycle, and how far we can get this team. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new to see plenty more F1 and racing game content. Until the next one, for the Spanish Grand Prix, see you later.